Hi, I'm Doug from Dynamic Computing, and welcome to episode 173 of 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast. Today, as you notice, things are a little different. I gotta figure out which way to point. We got a CD32 screen here, we have a 10 mark logo down there, and we have my mug right here, which is a little bit different. I'm gonna see how it works. This won't be a permanent thing. This is just when I demo some games here. So what I want to talk about today is a cool new release from JOTD on itch.io, sounds like a lot of acronyms, that is designed for the CD32. And there's some more acronyms. Now, JOTD, if you're not familiar with him, he's been creating some Amiga games for a long time. Fantastic stuff. And what he generally does, what he's become, famous worldwide for, is taking original arcade games and converting them over to the Amiga. And not just like, okay, let's make it look like an arcade game. Taking the actual code and transmogrifying it onto the actual Amiga. He goes into some explanations of how he does it on his itch.io site. I recommend everybody check it out. Let's take a quick peek at it here. Here we go. So it's jotd666.itch.io. We're going to be covering CD32 arcade classics today, but look at all these other games that he's created, and a lot of these are on the compilation that we're going to be talking about. Phoenix 500, which is a version of the Phoenix arcade game that works on any OCS or ECS Amiga. Moon Patrol, which is fantastic, which unfortunately does not work in the current compilation. Donkey Kong 500, Tetris 1200, Super Bagman, Karate Champ, which I'm absolutely terrible at, Pango, Galaxian, and Xevious. Okay, there's also Scramble, Amidar, Miss Pac-Man, and Pac-Man. Now, here's the cool thing. All of these, most of these, he has compiled and put on a single CD that can then be used in your CD32. Let's take a look at mine. So today we're doing this on my actual Realio Trulio Amiga CD32. Now this is an NTSC version. You've seen it in several other of my videos. NTSC versions are not particularly common, and all of JOTD stuff is assuming you're working on a PAL machine. Luckily, because the Amiga is the absolute best computer platform ever created by human beings, it's fairly easy to get these to boot up into PAL mode, and I'll show you what to do in case you haven't done it before. Just full disclosure, this has a terrible Fire 030 card in it back here. You'll see a video that I've done on it in the description. This is using an RGB to component cable or connector, which then goes to a RetroTink 2, which allows me to get a really nice screen like this. Absolutely beautiful, rock solid. But this is a real CD32, and all of these games will work on an unexpanded CD32, albeit a couple of them, he says, currently run a little bit slower. Let's go ahead and take a look at the compilation, which I have burned onto a verbatim CD. Now, if you're running this on a PAL Amiga CD32, or you're running this in WinUAE, which you can do absolutely fine, you just link the ISO image that you download from his itch.io site, and it plays fine on a WinUAE session. But if you're using an NTSC model CD32, which you're probably not, you have to hook up a mouse. Now I happen to have Lucas Remus's nice recreation mouse. I have it connected to the CD32 with a special 9-pin to USB adapter that allows me to use the mouse wirelessly. Boot up your CD32 and go to your early startup menu by holding down both mouse buttons. We go to display options, tell it to go to PAL, and then I happen to have a keyboard hooked up here too, and I'll put a link in the description where I get the PS2 keyboard adapter from. I go ahead and just hit the space bar to switch it directly into PAL mode. Then you can click boot, and it'll boot up into PAL mode instead of NTSC mode. Again, if you live over in some third world foreign country like Europe, Just kidding, guys. You don't have to worry about it. You'll have a PAL CD32. There's the lovely Amiga CD32 logo. And look what we've got here. We have a nice interface, and I think he'll probably just improve this over time, maybe a little flashier, where we can go down and using the CD32 gamepad, go down and look at little screens from each of the games that it comes with. Let's just talk about the games for a second before we play some. It comes with Amidar 500, which the 500 means that it's designed OCS, ECS. If it says 1200, it's designed for AGA Amigas. Amidar, trippy game. Bagman, which is absolutely a blast. This thing has some capabilities and some features that were just crazy for 1982. Donkey Kong, you guys might have heard of Donkey Kong before. It came out from this company called Nintendo, something like that. They went out of business real fast in the 80s, and no one's ever heard of them again. Galaxian, which is a predecessor to one of my favorites, Galaga. Not as fun as Galaga, but certainly more fun than Space Invaders. Karate Champ, which I absolutely stink at, and I get beaten up every single time. Moon Patrol, which is currently not working on this compilation, but it will work if you try and play it on a regular Amiga, which you can do too. He'll have this fixed soon. Miss Pac-Man, which for some reason he has it titled Mrs. Pac-Man. I do not believe that they're married yet, so it's supposed to be Miss Pac-Man, MS, which is fantastic on the Amiga. Pac-Man 500, which also I can't seem to get to work. Every time I launch this program, it literally gives me a guru. Pango, which is absolutely fantastic. Phoenix, which is brand spanking new to the Amiga. He just came out with this literally a few weeks ago. This one plays really nicely. He's got two versions of it on here. If you see two versions, it just means that there's some visual enhancements and some play enhancements if you go with the AGA version instead of the 500 version. Then he's got Scramble, which is an absolute blast. I love this game. It's one of the original video games that came out in the late 70s, early 80s. It's wonderful. Super Bagman, which is an enhancement to Bagman. Haven't actually played this one. I'll have to try it. Tetris, which I've put far too much time into the past couple of 2 or 3 days. And Xevious. Now Xevious is a fantastic 2-button shooter game, shoot 'em up, really, really good. I've always loved it, and just fantastic. So once you boot it up, you can go into each individual game, usually by just hitting the red button on your CD32 controller, and it will launch it via WHD load. Once you're actually in the game, you can usually start it with the red button here. Sometimes you have to insert coins first by hitting either the red or the blue button, and then hitting the up button to start a one-player game. Sometimes you just can start it with a red button. It depends on the game. It's all in the README file that's included on the CD if you want to read the CD. Now, Amidar is a trip. Whoever made this game, seriously, they were imbibing at the time. Maybe they had a little bit too much the old wacky weed, because this is a trip. The first level, you're a gorilla, because of course you're a gorilla. You're being chased by apparently Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and you have to, kind of like kicks, enclose all of these boxes here by walking over the little pellets like Pac-Man and then enclosing the boxes, because of course. Now, there's also some way that I haven't figured out that you can run over the police officers and get points when they change color, but I don't know how to do that yet. Your only defense in the game is you have this jump capability. So if the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles get too close, like I'll have one get close to me here, you can hit the jump button. See how that makes them jump in the air? Not you. Makes them jump in the air, because of course it does. And then you can jump right over them. Now I've been killed. So let's finish up this screen and I'll show you some of the other screens. Now in this next screen, you're a pig trying to get a banana. See how the pig is jumping across the screen? You don't have any control over this. There's nothing I'm doing to control it. Now the pig goes down the line and you have to have chosen the right path for him to go down to get the banana, because pigs and bananas and such. This next one reminds me of Make Tracks, which I wish there was a version of. Now you see how I can't fill in any of these areas with my little paintbrush? 1 minute ago I was a pig eating a banana. Now I'm being chased by killer pigs. Like I said, the guy who created this, on drugs. You have to go over an area that's already been painted, and then you pick up paint on your brush, and then you can fill in the areas. See, I picked up the yellow paint. Now I don't have any yellow paint. This is psychotic. This is psychotic. It's fun, but it's absolutely psychotic. Yay, I filled in another area, 150 points. I think that there's more levels, but my brain could not handle it. Now, just like all WHD load games, you can always hit a keyboard like F10 or escape or something, and again, it's all in the documentation, and get out of the game and get back into this menu. But what I've found is that often corrupts the games if I do that. So what I do is I do a reset between every game. Not convenient, but again, this is kind of just in beta here, so he's going to improve it. Let's take a look at Bagman, which is an absolute trip of a game. Now, Bagman here from 1982, this is one of them where you can hit the red button. See, every time I hit the red button, it adds a quarter into it. Then I hit the up button here to actually start the game. Now, the point of it, you're this little criminal down here, and you have to steal all these bags of gold in the mines, and the miners are going to come and get you. Now notice, when I pick up a bag of gold, I literally go slower. Now the miner's coming to get me. I'm going to grab that darn pickaxe and whack him over the head, which knocks him out for a second. Then you have to get up to the top. See that wheelbarrow all the way up at the top? You have to go up here and use the button, drop the money in the bag. Now you're moving fast again. Now look at this. Here's gold right there. He's going to try and get me. I don't want him to get me there. Come on, buddy. Up the ladder. See those mine carts? You can also jump up on here to avoid the mine carts. I'm dead, because you get killed if you get hit by a mine cart. Grab some gold. I'm going to go over here so he avoids me. Yeah, where are you going, jerk? Now watch this. This is hilarious. Come get me, buddy. I'm going to drop it on your head. You can drop bags of money on their head and it knocks them out for a second. This is a trip. So you go through each of these levels, and when you collect all the gold, if you want to, then you grab your little wheelbarrow, you go to the next level. Now I intentionally did not grab all the gold here. See, here comes the truck. So I'm gonna make sure the little truck doesn't hit me. Yay! But I'm gonna get hit by this dude. You can get on these elevators. You can use the mine carts you can use the pickaxes to break through some walls. Up in the air. Whoa! Like this area right here. You can use the pickaxe to get extra special money. So I got my pickaxe. Whom, 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 whom. Just like Minecraft. Now I can pick that money up. And this money, I think I walk even slower with this money, so it makes it even harder. See, there's no way to get up here until the elevator comes down. So I'm going to get on the elevator. But my wheelbarrow's on the other screen here. Am I going to get over there? I hope he doesn't chase me over here. Got it. This is insane. Absolutely insane. But there's like 8 million levels on here. And the rules of it are just crazy. You know, how you slow down when you grab a bag. You can knock out the miners by dropping bags on their head or hitting them with the mining picks. It's really a clever game, and I recommend you. So Donkey Kong, I think everybody knows about Donkey Kong, but this is a really good rendition of it. This is another one where you use the red buttons to put your credits in, and then you hit the up button to start the actual game. This is built on the actual Donkey Kong code, and then he tweaks it a little bit once he transcodes it, but it's virtually identical to the original Donkey Kong game. Let's play a little bit of it. And of course, you play Sonic the Metroid. That's who this guy is right here, Sonic the Metroid. And you have to jump over the pizzas, or these cookies in this game. Ah! I'm out of here. And of course, all the standard things like grabbing your barrels or grabbing your hammer to whack the barrels, that works just fine. And of course, on this first level, there's an argument about using the hammer and getting extra points or just rushing yourself up the screen. Now, I will be perfectly honest, playing this with the gamepad is not the easiest thing in the world. This one is really designed for a joystick, but of course the CD32 handles joysticks just fine. And the version that JOTD did has all of the levels, so it has all 4 levels in the standard kind of American and European way that the levels are laid out on here. So as you guys may or may not know, it doesn't make any sense why Mario is killing Donkey Kong on the very second level you get to. That should be the 4th level like it is in the Japanese version. Come here. I'm gonna whack you. Die, fireballs. That's what you get for messing with Sonic the Metroid. I gotta get my last Pokeball over there. Galaxian, of course, needs very little introduction. It is also based on the actual game code and does a really good job of playing exactly like Galaxian. Now here's one of the little quirks that sometimes happens, and that is the game doesn't start properly. You can see my ship is down there. Well, you can't see it because I'm invisible, and the enemies only appear when they come to attack. I'm actually doing quite good considering I can't see anything. Okay, so this is one of the things that I was telling you about where things are not perfect with the games. Usually this starts and plays just fine with me. What I'll do in this case is I'll power down the CD32, power it back up, and try it again. But yeah, this isn't normal. You know, I have a suspicion about what happened there. I think I may have hit the button before this screen came up, and it maybe didn't load all the little sprites in. I'll have to ask JOTD about that and see if that's the case. So normal Galaxian, we won't play much of this because you guys have all seen it before, but I want you to see how nice of a version it is. The sounds are great, the scoring is exactly right, the play is exactly the same. The fact that I'm bad at the game is exactly identical to the actual arcade version. But this is as good a version of Galaxian as you're going to get outside of MAME emulation. Now what would be really cool is if there was an option when you first booted up that asked you if you're PAL or NTSC, and then used a tool like Degrader or something similar to that to actually switch it, so I don't have to do the 2-finger salute and go in and change it to PAL every time. Now I suppose I could just literally add that to the ISO image and reburn it. I'm sure I could figure out a way to do that, but I don't want to mess with JOTD stuff. Now, Karate Champ is a good game from what I understand, but I am so bad at it that all you're going to see me do is get punched by the red guy. Moon Patrol is absolutely one of my favorite video games of all time. And I've already purchased this on my Amiga. I've played it on my Amiga 600, my Amiga 1200, and it is a fantastic version of Moon Patrol, but on the CD32 launcher, it currently does not launch. It locks up the system. So I can't show you Moon Patrol. I wish I could. Miss Pac-Man, one of my favorite games of all time. Let's go ahead and launch this. It's got all the intro screens on here, introducing all of our little ghosts. You push the red button to start. Music is beautiful. The play is absolutely beautiful. The reactions of the ghosts is exactly identical to the arcade version because the code is based on the arcade version. Certainly not as easy to play with a gamepad as it is with a joystick, but you know, absolutely you can just plug a joystick into here too. And of course this has all of the levels. Now the only difference that I've seen, watch when you eat a ghost, watch when you get eaten by a ghost. Let's let red dude come on down here. Watch when you eat a ghost. All of the other ghosts disappear for a fraction of a second. I don't know why that is, but they do. But I don't recall them doing that in the arcade game or in any of the other versions that I have. Now I play Miss Pac-Man on everything from my Atari 2600, 5200, 7800, Atari 8-bit, Commodore 64, VIC-20. I absolutely love this game in all of its forms. This one is the absolute truest to the original arcade version. Fantastic. Now Pac-Man, of course, I think you guys have heard of this one before. Every time I launch Pac-Man, it gurus my CD32, so I'm not even going to try it. Pango works fantastic though. Now of course in Pango you play as a little penguin, which is the little red dude here, and you can go up to these ice blocks and you can either push them like I just did or crush them. And the point is you want to kill the snow bees because you are a murderous penguin. So you want to squish them like that. The little flashy ones there, when you see them flash, those are the ice cubes that contain snow bee eggs. And you can actually crush them before the snow bees break out of the eggs. I just died. So like here's an unborn snow bee egg inside there. Death to the snow bee eggs. They're gone. Another tool is that you have in your arsenal is you can push the button when you're next to when you're next to the water there, and that paralyzes the snow bees for a few seconds and you can squish them. What I always try to do is line up these. I just got killed. Is line up these special ones there. See with a little with the little symbols on them here. You line these up in a row and you get like huge amounts of points. Now I'm personally going to die here in a minute, so I'm not going to do that. But normally I would line up all of these little guys. When you only have one snow bee left, they always try and make an escape. Oh, look at that. I lined them up and I killed the snow bee. I should be getting 11.7 million points. Or 5,000 points. Pango is an absolutely fun game and you guys should try it out on the Amiga. Now Phoenix is a fantastic game. Phoenix is, again, in the evolution of video games where you went from Space Invaders in the late 70s to Galaxian to Galaga, and they kept adding a little something on to these space shooters. And Phoenix's little thing is you have multiple screens, different waves of enemies, And you also have a shield that you can use that protects yourself for a few seconds. So we're going to start a single player game. And you are the little guy in the bottom of the screen here. Look at that. Look at the star field. That looked so good in the 80s. And the point is you have to kill all of the enemies that are coming after you. And like I said, you've got this shield. You can push the button and that shield activates. You can only use the shield and then it has to warm up for a while. So you use it once and then the shield has to re-energize. And you can't move while you're using the shield. And as you advance through, like this level here, it kind of trips me out because suddenly I can shoot twice as fast on the blue Phoenix level, but other levels you can really only have one bullet at a time on the screen. So I don't know why that changes. Ha ha ha, I killed him with my shield. Come on, little dude. You die now. The next level's so cool. They start out as these eggs, and you can shoot the eggs. They die in one hit. Then they turn into these birds, like in Demon Attack, where you can shoot off just the wings. And if you shoot off their wings and then shoot their center part, you actually get extra points. And they'll actually turn back into eggs after a while, too. Ah, I should have used my shield. And of course, once you get through a couple of waves, then you get to the mothership, which is one of the first boss battles of one of the popular video games back in the day. You have to shoot through the boss's ship while avoiding getting squished by the little phoenix that are flying down, or phoeni as maybe they are in the plural. And it gets very stressful, and I don't want to die. Once you bust through there, then you have to get through that little outer ring and hopefully kill Grandmaster Alien. Got him. I win. And then the cycle starts all over again, because we all know when the aliens invade, they have an infinite number of ships compared to our 3 ships defending the galaxy. So yes, Phoenix is an absolute must-play game. Scramble, I had a hard time launching this one last night. Let me see if this works. It may crash, in which case I'll be depressed. Huh, might work. Let's see. Press the start button, 2-button joystick. So you're this jet fighter up here, and you can drop bombs with one button and shoot lasers with the other. You have to keep your fuel up because as you know, the only way to refuel a spaceship is by shooting a fuel tank on the ground. That's just physics. We all know that. You have to avoid the missiles, and it's actually a really, really good version of Phoenix, and this was one of the first shoot 'em ups out there. Yikes. The color changing is pretty cool. You know, we got 16 colors we're probably dealing with in here, and they're doing their best to make it look like a VIC-20 and cycle the colors. But it's built on the original game code. Die, all of you, die. Yeah. Time to blow up some more fuel tanks. Yes, this is called the Cheaty McCheats-a-lot wave because you can't destroy these, and they just love to just come and mess your world up here. Yeah. Now, Super Bagman here. I've never played this one. I assume it's just a more modern and recent version of Bagman with new levels. I'm going to spend some time in this one because I like Bagman so much, but I think I want to get good at Bagman first. Tetris 1200. This is a fantastic one right here. So I think you all know how to play Tetris, but it's a quite a good version of it. Of course, you can drop things quickly if you want to. It's got good music. Oh yeah, that's a really helpful one. Thanks, guys. You think I'll be able to get that slid under there? Mad skills. They still gave me a crappy one. You're just going down here. No, there's no way I can get that in there. Let's just see if... Yeah! Oh, that was stupid. Yeah, you just butchered your game here, Douglas. Nice job. Ah, great demo, Doug. You screwed everything up. So now we're going to just lose. But Tetris, fantastic game. Lots of cool little features in this version too. And the last one on here is Xevious, and this is optimized for AGA. I believe he has an ECS version of Xevious too. Xevious, one of my all-time favorite games from back in the day. And of course, you're flying the Salvaloo there, which is a great name for a ship. And things fly out of the air, and you have to shoot them with one of the red button, and then you have bombs that you can drop with the blue button. And you'll see things appearing on the ground here. There's some dudes right there, and you can bomb them. And this is actually kind of cool, as what I understand. If you shoot enough, or if you bomb enough of certain types of those ground bases, it actually changes what kinds of enemies and what kinds of firepower you run into in the future. And I think it has something to do with destroying enough energy bases, and then the enemy doesn't have enough energy to send certain kinds of attacks against you. So it's kind of cool. And they always tried to make it, you know, something neat in here. Now, I've got this on, and I've played it on my Amiga, I think my 600 and my 1200. And I experienced no slowdowns there. My Amiga 600 has a 68030 running at 50 megahertz. And my Amiga 1200, of course, has my Raspberry Pi, my Pi Storm in it. But look at the slowdown here. This is on a 68030 based CD32. So there's an issue running this on the CD32. There's lots of areas when lots of enemies get on the screen where you have these horrible slowdowns. And I absolutely do not get any slowdowns on any of my other Amigas. I'm sure JOTD is going to figure out what's going on and fix it, because this should work at least reasonably well, even on a 68020 with some extra memory. Maybe the right answer is for him to put the ECS version on this compilation, so it doesn't have to struggle so hard. Hard to say though, but I'm sure he'll fix it. But it's still an enjoyable game, and there's just 3 or 4 places in the first couple of levels that I noticed you get a little bit of a slowdown when you get, there it is, here's the slowdown here, when you get a bunch of stuff on the screen. And I like I said, I don't get that on my other Amigas. It's funny because the slowdown seems to appear when a lot of the ground bases are visible, which is weird, because you'd think things flying through the air would be tougher on the Amiga. Of course, this level where you have the invulnerable plates flying through the air. This is, I've got some slowdown on here too with the little flippity-doodle plates. But only when some of the ground bases show up. See that that triangle base shows up there, and I get a slowdown that I was not experiencing when it was just the rotating platforms. Really, really strange, but I'm sure JOTD is going to fix it. So don't let this influence your decision to pick this up, because he's really good at optimizing this stuff. And once he knows it exists, he will spend hours fixing it, I'm sure. So that's a little taste of what's on JOTD's new compilation of arcade games for the CD32. Now remember, every single one of these is available to run on either your OCS, ECS Amiga, or AGA Amiga, and they run just fine. They just run fine on there. He is putting together this compilation and trying to get it so it works as smoothly as possible by putting in a CD in your CD32 and just choosing to run a game. Are we quite there yet? Not quite, with about 20-25% of the games that are in this compilation. I ran into some issues. I told you I couldn't launch Pac-Man, can't launch Moon Patrol, and then some of the other games have some stuttering issues or some graphical issues. That's okay, because it's a work in progress, and he tells you straight out it is a work in progress. And when a new version comes out in the next couple of days or week or 2 weeks, he will publish that, and things will run better until it gets to a point where things run pretty much perfectly. Now, what would be fantastic is if there was a way on boot up if we could switch between PAL and NTSC, so I wouldn't have to manually switch every time. But being that there's not that many of us who have CD32s that are NTSC, is it worth the effort? I don't know. I'll probably just do it myself. The other thing that would be really cool is to streamline the interface a little bit more, where all of the games maybe can exit with, I don't know, the shoulder button, okay, that's not used in any game, or the start button here, maybe program that, because as of right now, some games you have to exit out with escape, some with F10, and I think with WHD load, I think you can configure that in the in some of the settings there. So it'd be cool if that was standardized. It'd also be cool if it were standardized, what constitutes a coin drop, what constitutes starting the game, because right now it's hit or miss unless you do something completely off the wall, like read the manual that comes with it, read the little instructions that come with it, then it tells you straight out what's going on. Read the instructions anyways, put the CD in your machine or load the ISO on your PC and look at the instructions, because there's also some other little things like some cheats you can do and enable, number of lives you have you can enable, and you'll only really see that when you read the instructions, so it's worth doing. This is absolutely worth downloading from his itch.io. This is 100% worth dropping some money to him for this, okay? You're not paying for the games, you're paying for his work in transferring the games over here. All right, I dropped him a $20 bill. It's worth twice that easily. I may give him some more once everything's absolutely perfect, but definitely drop him a little something, because it's worth it, and it will incentivize him to optimize it and make it run even better. This is going to be really cool to just literally be able to take a CD of arcade games, stick them in your CD32, launch it, and then just get in playing some arcade games. If this were available back in '93 when the CD32 was out there, that would be wicked awesome. I had always wanted real arcade games on my Amigas back in the day. But at that time, everyone was like, oh, that's early 80s stuff. Who cares about that? We want modern stuff. No, the early 80s stuff is some cool pick up and play games. This is where we all came from. Definitely pop on over. Definitely download it. Even if you just play it on WinUAE emulating a CD32, it's fun. Huge thanks to my patrons who you see scrolling across the screen here over this beautiful Xevious screen. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate everything you do. If you want to join in on the fun, pop on over to patreon.com/10mark and you can sign up too. Thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate it. Definitely pick this up. Please like and subscribe. Let me know what you think about this new layout that I'm trying for. I'm thinking about doing this for game reviews, because I do some Commodore 64, Amiga game reviews, and I thought it'd be fun because I know how you guys all love to see my pretty face, and being able to see the game at the same time. And maybe I can get another overhead camera shot of something else going on, like of the actual console I'm playing on. Let me know if you like it, and I'll do it a little bit more often. But until next time, this is Doug from 10-Minute Amiga Retrocast, signing out.